there, everyone. Welcome to lesson 5 of Hope Tech. Today is level 1, part 3. Isaiah found out some pretty sweet things that we can do to our games, so we're going back to level 1. I'll go ahead and still do a little preview of what we did, but he's going to show us how to do some pretty sweet things today, so I'm excited. So to prep, just go ahead and have your device ready. You can have it open to level 1, even though last week we started on level 2. So today, Ready Maker tutorial, there will be one screenshot. And here's our values: be bold, encourage, and explore. So tasks for today in Ready Maker, Isaiah is going to take us through die and pit and reload. So that's where, if you fall down through the bottom of the screen, it'll restart your game over again in level 1. We're going to talk about timers and using timers to do two things. Isaiah is going to walk through how to use that to go to the next level. And then we're going to walk through together using a timer to do like a game over thing if we fall down in the pit. We're also going to talk about restarting the scene and one screenshot, and let us know if you have any questions. So with that, let's head on over to Ready Maker. Let me open this up. I'm going to open up level 2 really quick. Check out what we did last week. So we started level 2. We put in some platforms. We did like what we did a few weeks ago with level 1, basically. We put on some physics, have some gravity, we locked some rotation. We did the behaviors in our character, in our player, for jumping and the control pad to go left and right. The new thing we added was this enemy guy. We gave him a behavior, the mouth for mine, to move towards something. We wrote some events so that after a certain amount of time, the enemy will move towards our player. And then if they touch, then the scene will restart. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of level 2 here. Let's all go into level 1 together. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Isaiah to do the die and pit and reload, and also the timer.
All right, so I'm back today to show you how to, one, first, make an object disappear upon touching it, and two, how to make it so that once you go below a specific point, it makes the game restart. Let's get started. All right, let me share my screen. Ready Maker. All right, share. All right, so the project I need to get into is this one right here. Edit. All right, so this is the project I need to be using. See, the character, once he goes below a certain coordinate, he dies and the game resets. How about I just go here? Let's see if I can grab this. All right, fish, move him up here, play, click, disappears, effect goes off, set amount of time, then it moves on to the next level, specifically for this game. I believe I forgot to inform that these two new strings are supposed to be in your first game, and the one where you fall off to restart the game, that one can be in all your games from now on, because it's helpful and it keeps you from needing to press the pause button and leaving the game. Now, so I can actually show, cancel. All right, so now that I can actually show, in here are the events. So the event to make the item disappear is the top one right here. It's just these two. Yeah, it's just these two. And the do statement here is just making sure that the object's appearance is set to hidden. Or if I go in here, object, I want, then go over to appearance, set hidden, yes. I mean, we've already went over sensing collide with and clicking the object, so don't believe I need to go over that again. I also believe we already went over effects, so that should have already been covered. And go down here, and it actually is right here. This is the event so that when you go below a certain coordinate, the position is reset. So, for instance, click the object that you want, then have its position is below a certain point, then reset the game. So I found that -2 is the quickest. So if you want something snappy, almost instant, as soon as they go off screen, on the bottom of the screen. I also liked -5 because -5 gives it a little bit of time, makes it feel a little bit more natural. But if you want something, again, if you want something a little bit snappier, -2 is the one that you would want. You can play around the numbers. You can really actually just play around with the numbers yourself. This is all about being creative, really. And then for the do statement, have the system, so it's usually near the bottom, system, then system once more. I have it currently loading my next project. Actually, no, I currently have this one restarting the scene, so it's not even a problem. So yeah, so system, and then restart scene. So then once you go below that coordinate, it restarts the scene immediately. This same event style can be used for multiple things. I have in another game, almost exactly like this, but it's the inverse. It's when you go to the top of the screen, it loads you into another. Game. The reason for me teaching you this is not for you to just copy this down and make it make something that works. It's more or less for you to grab this and combine it with your own ideas so that you can make something that you're thinking about. So it's like, oh, if you wanted something to go off the right side of your screen, you can do the same thing with this. Just instead of below coordinate, you can do is left of or is right of. There's so many things you can do with this, and I'm just giving you one application of what you can. So make sure to go out here and use your creativity.
If you enjoyed today's video, you can like and subscribe down below. You can also sign up for our newsletter at hopenlc.org. All right, thanks, Isaiah. So now we have Diane Pit and Reload. Next, we're going to put in some timers. To do that, we are going to go to this plus sign here, up on the right, and interface and text. There will be a timer on the bottom. Looks like one of those little stopwatches with a little clicky button on it. I'm going to put that in. I'm going to make this bigger. We're going to use a couple different timers. So we're going to name them so that way we don't get confused about what's what. So in appearance, you're going to click up on the top where it says timer. We're going to call this one timer level 2 or next level, whatever you want to call it. So this will be the one that takes us to our next level when we collect our token at the end. The other thing we want to do is turn active off because we want to tell it to turn on when we collect our item and not just when the level starts. So next, let's go into our events and tell it when to become active. So we're going to do that in this very first event here when we collect our token. We are going to add another line here. And the reason I have 2 lines is just because I put 2 effects on my BlackBerry. So here we're going to choose an object. We're going to select timer level 2, timer label, set active, and yes. So now this will be set active when we collect this object, but we haven't told it what to do after it starts. So for that, we need to make another new event all the way at the bottom. You can do new event over here on the left. I haven't tried that. There we go. Just brings us straight there. You don't have to scroll all the way down. So now we're going to tell it to load level 2 after a certain amount of time. And I liked about 2 seconds. Isaiah's telling me about that. I think it works really well. So I'm going to do when timer level 2, timer label is greater than 2 seconds. You can play with whatever numbers you want, though. I'm going to hit confirm for 2. And what I'm going to do is system, and I'm going to load my project. And that's where we're going to load level 2 that we started working on last week. So now when we collect this blackberry, whatever you have, my blackberry, Cupcake Carl's going to get this blackberry, and then it's going to load level 2. Let's go ahead and save really quick. The tricky thing with this, though, is testing it in the game. I'll show you what happens. You have to be careful so you don't lose your level 2 here. So you'll see if you put your timer here in your screen. So get my blackberry. We'll do 2 seconds. It's not working right. Okay, see, you don't want to discard changes. I'm going to cancel load. The easiest way to do this is to exit, go into level 1, and try it in here. So this is actually what it's like when you play. Let's see if this works here. Should be able to get to my blackberry. Start that. And then it'll load my level 2 out here. If you do an edit, there's a really high chance of accidentally erasing some of your work. So it's best to do it outside in my projects. So that's a way to test it, but we're going to keep going. Keep on going. So we know that works now. I'm going to move this out to the side. So we just know it works. Now what we need to do is let's put like a game over thing in our game, and then we'll put a timer for that. And the game over will be if we, the die and pit and reload that we just did with Isaiah, we can do a game over that'll pop up, and then we'll put a timer for that before it restarts the scene. So let's do a game over first. There's 2 ways to do it. In artwork, you can do you lose. In artwork, you can use this you lose, or you can go into, let me X out of this, interface and text, and you can do a text box. You can do either way, whatever you want to do. I'm going to call this game over. I'm going to turn solid off if you're doing the text box. Actually, it would be the same if you do you lose the actual image. So you make solid off, collider active off. If you're doing the text box, you can put whatever you want in here. And the fun thing with this, I'm going to make this bigger. I also made it crooked. That's cool. It does like a gradient effect. There's 2 colors here you can play with. It's kind of fun. Let's do it. Okay. There we go. There's also font size. Let's do 20. Yeah, more like 10. There we go. All right, so there's my game over. But right now, when we test it, it's just chilling. As long as you turn solid off and turn the collider off, you shouldn't be able to use it like a platform. But we don't want this to show up unless we fall to the bottom there. So let's go ahead and do some events to make game over work properly in our game. So we're going to go back up to that stoplight up there. We're going to do a new event, very bottom, doing lots of events today. So we are going to say when system runtime scene start. It's like one of those clocking things from making movies. And the do is going to be our text, which is either you lose or your text block. So mine is game over, appearance. I'm going to hide it. So I'm going to put set hidden and yes. And what that's going to do is you'll see it in your preview here when you're editing, but when you test your game and hit play, it should disappear. But now we need to tell it when to come back. We want it to come back if we fall. So that event that we just did with Isaiah, where our player's position, if it's below -2 or -5, the system restarts. We're going to take away that system restart scene there. And instead, we're going to make our game over appearance set hidden no. So that way we can see it. So now when we play, let me just fly off the edge here. Now game over comes up. Now we need to tell it when to restart the scene, and that's another timer. So we're going to hit the plus sign, go back in interface and text, grab a timer, bring it in here. I'll put it in my scene so that way I can check it, make sure it works properly. This one I'm going to call timer game over. So I'm going to go into appearance, go up at the top, click where it says timer, and a timer game over. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to turn active off on this guy. So now we have this game over timer. Let's go ahead and go back into our events once again and tell it when to start and what to do after it starts, after it's run a certain amount of time. So we're going to have it start where we would just were if we fall, right? Fall to our doom in our game. So we just made game over and set the appearance to yes, which is hidden no. It's kind of confusing. We make it appear, and then now after that happens, we're going to start the timer. So when you choose our object, and this is why naming our timers is important, you all. So now I know it's my game over timer, not my level 2 timer. Timer label, set active, yes. So that means that our timer is going to start going from 0 and it's going to start counting up. And now we need to write a new event to tell it what to do when it starts and after it's been running a certain amount of time. So new event, it's going to be very similar to the other one where when it is greater than 2, it loads level 2, except we're going to have it restart this scene. So when timer game over, timer label, wait. Yeah, it's greater than, I'm going to do 2 again. That seems to work well, around 2, 3-ish. And what I'm going to do is system, restart scene. Before we did load my project and loaded level 2, and we're just going to restart our scene here. So leave this up for a second. Y'all can see it. All right. So let's try this out. Let's try it out, see what works. And now I'm going to look when I fall to make sure that this timer starts running. There we go. And when it gets to about 2, yep, starts all over again. Beautiful. And if I get to my BlackBerry, even though it's not going to load properly in here, it's off to the side so we don't see it going, but it'll load level 2. And I'm just going to hit cancel load. Otherwise it does something really weird. I've lost whole levels not doing that properly before. It's a little scary. So one more thing, one last thing. This is it. We're going to make it so our token disappears. So we're going to do that in, yes. So in this event number 1, let's add one more thing where the timer starts going. We're also going to take our token. For me, it's a BlackBerry. Appearance, set hidden, and yes. This is optional. You don't have to do this. It just makes the game look a little bit nicer. Check it out. Oh, shortcut. There we go. And then I still have my effects, and I'll still try to load level 2. There we go. Let's go ahead and save our games. One screenshot for today. So your screenshot, even though we did a lot, the one you're going to take a picture of, it should be event number 3 in your game, and this is level 1. And where your timer to go to level 2, when it gets to a certain count, the system load my project and loads level 2. And then next week we're going to work on level 2. We did a lot. So good job, guys. And hope you had a good time. I'll see you next time.